I can hear it still ringing
Echoing.
out here in Lenovo Center. It's so petty in North Carolina, but that's exactly what happens when you get North Carolina fans, NC State fans, and Duke fans to cheer for all one team. They're so used to going against each other, they came together for a special cause, and now the Montreal Canadiens feel it. The Carolina Hurricanes are going to the Stanley Cup Final after winning 6-1 versus the Montreal Canadiens. This game felt like literally the easiest of the series, and it kept getting easier game by game for the Canes.
Which is wild to say because this round has not been easy for Carolina in the past.
Right.
Third time in 4 years they've gotten here, and they just ran into a better team, a better goalie. But this year, the Canes are that big bad. They are the favorite in the Eastern Conference. They should be the favorite now to win the Stanley Cup, and they showed it through this postseason. You can say what you want about the path, Ottawa Senators, Philadelphia Flyers, and now a young Montreal Canadiens team, but sweep the first two rounds, a gentleman's sweep here, and if not for that first period and that 11-day break versus Montreal game one, this could have been a sweep as well.
Yeah.
And you know what? All that doesn't really matter because they got there, and this is not a fluke, this is not a system, this is a team, this is a franchise, this is a culture that's been building to this moment. And I always like to tell people, I was talking to a college kid the other day, I'm like, when your opportunity comes, make sure you're ready.
For sure.
Opportunities don't come that often in life. So do the little work so you're ready. And this Canes team has done it, and it showed itself so far in the playoffs and, of course, here in this closeout Game 5.
I think this game was everything that they wanted it to be, that they needed it to be, to have the momentum going into the next round. Let's talk about how the scoring started in this one, because I was saying to you before the game, Pat, this will be nice if this started off like the first period of Game 4, 3-0. It'll be easy for us to write, but it's not going to be that way. Boy, was I wrong, because it was that way. And it started off 3-0 for the Canes. That second line, they're the MVPs of this team so far in the postseason. Logan Stankoven helps to start the scoring, where I felt like in this game they were going straight to the net and collapsing multiple guys towards the net in this game. I felt like that was a deliberate part of their strategy. That's what Logan Stankoven does. Can't quite get it for himself, but Taylor Hall is there to smack it in from point-blank range. We thought maybe it was going to get called back for goalie interference. It was not. That goal ends up standing, and then 6 minutes later, Taylor Hall finds Logan Stankoven, and he just smoothly puts it past Dobesh's left shoulder. And Jakub Dobeš he couldn't do anything with it tonight. And the Canes just looked amazing. And from there, I felt like we're in for a special night. I didn't expect to have 4 more goals after that.
We got a Jackson Blake goal in the second period to make it 4-0 to round it out for that line. 41 combined points for that line in the playoffs. And I think, you could say, where's the top line scoring? I mean, it showed itself in this game. It showed itself in this series. Svechnikov getting on the board, Seth Jarvis getting on the board, Sebastian Aho getting on the board. It's all there for you. And the difference with this Canes team is the depth of scoring, I think.
Oh, yes.
Right? Like,
yes.
When you have 41 points from that line, when you have Nikolai Ehlers on your third, and then you have the defense, you talk about the Canes system, you could say the Canes system is exciting.
Yes.
It generates a lot of shots. The defense get in the play. It's not this kind of like, it's puck possession, but it's not keep away. It's very aggressive. And what you saw in this series is it's a machine. I think Jordan Stahl described them as a machine, I believe it was yesterday. And that's what it looks like right now. When all 4 lines are cooking, Eric Robinson was the one who got the third goal, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, that says it all, right? Like, all 4 lines are going, and then you got Freddie Anderson in net, borderline shutout 2 games in a row. Just incredible stuff all around.
And then to add in there, Shane Gostisbehere gets a power play goal, right? Yeah. And we were talking about, at least Brian Murphy and I were talking about how bad the power play was in the last game in Game 4. I mean, they had a 5-on-3 opportunity, couldn't get a shot off in that. And just in general, the power play didn't look good outside of the Sebastian Aho one-timer that went in. Other than that, they barely got shots on the net, towards the net, for the power play and special teams in Game 4. That was not the case in this game. They came ready to play. They get the power play goal. That was another goal at the doorstep. I mean, they absolutely gave Jakub Dobeš hell, and it really felt like, I was saying to you upstairs, it really felt like 2 things for the Montreal Canadiens. They were tired, and they gave up.
Yeah.
A couple guys were playing, in the second period, a little bit in the third period. But for the most part, this was a team that walked in, I think, knowing they were going to lose. I saw a couple of the players walking in, and it didn't feel like they had their game face on. It just felt like, okay, we're just here to play our last game of the season.
Well, in the 3-2 overtime games, you were saying this on one of our rapid reactions the other night. It's like the Canes are playing so well, but the games are still so close.
Yeah.
And it's like, how do we process that? And I think in hindsight now, those games should not have been that close.
They should not have been.
Right? Like the Canes were doing their thing. Montreal, to their credit, is a great counter-strike team, a great, opportunistic team with their skill, which we saw in game one, and we saw in their ability to keep those games close despite how few shots they were generating. But then we just saw Carolina wear them down. And then in that 4-0 game 4, that was maybe the best single game I've ever seen Carolina play in my 5 years of covering the team. And to your point, this game, game 5, it looked easy. Like in game 4, the Canes were just smothering them, suffocating them is a word that the players like to use, how they play defense. But in this one, it just kind of looked easy. So I think that doubt creeps into Montreal's mind after, all right, 3-2 overtime, we're close, but then it's 4-0. We're down 3-1 in the series. We got to go back to Carolina.
Yeah.
How are we possibly going to beat this team? And it's not fun to play them.
It's not.
Right? Like Lane Hudson, who was one of the most gifted younger defensemen in the league, took an absolute beating. And I'm reminded of the Canes talked about it this week. Like, we've been on the other side of that.
Yes.
With Florida kind of imposing their will physically, being a little bit more skilled, being a little more physical, and the Canes were able to kind of drop the hammer in the series on that young Montreal team.
As you were talking, it just made me kind of think of something with the Canes. And, yes, it did feel like they had a hard time scoring earlier in this series. But then I thought about the last few series, the last 3. And it felt like they got stronger as the series went along. So I'm wondering if this is what Vegas has in store for them. So let's just go back through the games. First game's with the Senators, 2-0. Second game, 3-2 overtime. Then third game, 2-1. Fourth game, 4-2. Got a little bit better each game. Let's go to the Flyers series. Win 3-0 in the first game. Then it was 3-2. About the same, but they let in a few more goals. That was overtime. Then 4-1. I think that was the game where they really broke the spirits of the Flyers right there. And that was in Philly. And then 3-2 in overtime once again. And then they lose 2-6, 3-2 overtime, 3-2 overtime, 4-0, and then 6-1. They get better every game. So you kind of wonder what the next round is going to look like for the Vegas Golden Knights. Maybe it is a closer game. Maybe it's another 3-2 overtime win. But if this team is able to get some time and figure things out and see where they're at, all of a sudden those goals are going in. Mm-hmm. They understand. You talked about Lane Hudson. He looked good earlier in the series. He looked good in game 1. All of a sudden he's disappeared. He's not here anymore, right? And the Canes eventually just figure it out. They wear you down. You don't get any space from them. And then all of a sudden your defenseman can't do anything and the goals start flying in. We'll have to see what happens. I mean, Vegas knows what they're playing for. They also have won 12 games in this playoffs, so it's not going to be easy by any stretch of the imagination. But the Canes did come into this season as one of the favorites to win Lord Stanley Cup. They are the favorite heading into this last round, and now as they're getting stronger, and this was their best offensive output that we've seen in this playoffs, in this postseason, man, look out, because you just never know what could happen.
They're going to go in as fresh as they essentially possibly could be.
Yeah.
Having gone 12-1 in the postseason. They've only had to play Freddie Anderson this whole time, which if you would have asked me before the postseason, I would not have bet on that.
No.
I would have thought
Brandon Bussey would have gotten some time.
Yeah, I would have thought he would have. Not necessarily to take anything away from Freddie. That's just how every postseason here has gone in the past. And a lot of things do for a lot of teams.
Antti Ranta got his games.
Yeah, so did Pyotr Kochetkov. And that hasn't been needed, A, because Freddie's been so good, and B, because they played so few games. So they're going to be completely healthy. They're going to be as rested as you could possibly be. And they're going to face a Vegas team that barely made the playoffs, that needed to fire their coach with, I think, 8 games remaining to give them the kick they needed. But now they're the hot team. They just took down the President's Trophy winner, and your Colorado Avalanche. Now, speaking of injuries, Colorado was not completely healthy in that series.
Yeah.
Nathan McKinnon a little bit banged up. Cale Makar a little bit banged up. They swapped goalies in that series, and Avalanche just looked out of sorts. And I think what we're going to get in Vegas, stop me if you've heard this before, a team that plays a lot like Carolina with John Tortorella at the helm. They were playing Colorado with their hair on fire, aggressive forecheck, and they've got the skill to match. And Jack Eichel, Mark Stone, Dobryev, hopefully I'm saying that name correctly, and Mitch Marner coming over from Toronto, who's, I think, leading the playoffs in goals and points. So it's a little bit like Montreal in the sense that high-end skill on the top line, but then a style that matches Carolina. We could be in for a great Cup final here.
Here's something to think about, and I don't want to pile too much on Denver, the Colorado Avalanche, because we know that they had their injury issues. But one of the weaknesses for them that you see people talk about when you watch the games, it's very obvious. You had a Brent Burns who just looks like he's getting older, he's getting a little bit slower, things are getting past him. What was one of the problems for the Carolina Hurricanes last year versus the Florida Panthers?
They had Brent Burns in their defense.
Then you have Martin Necas, who had a really good regular season. Postseason comes. Where you at, player? We don't see you.
Right.
Where you at? You didn't have, Makar had his injury issues. McKinnon had his injury issues. We need you, Martin Necas. Where are you at? They were going through the same thing. You essentially switch out Brent Burns for Keandre Miller, and you switch out Martin Necas for Nikolai Ehlers, and look where you're at.
Yeah.
That is the front office. That is scouting. That is, just smarts for the Carolina Hurricanes, understanding what to do and where to put people. And then last year you have Logan Stankoven as a right winger, and the thought process to say, let's take this 5'8" guy who's not 5'8", by the way, and put him at center. And it worked.
Yeah.
It is working. He is now part of probably the best line in hockey right now.
If you want to get into the anatomy of a champion, which I think you're basically setting the stage for, how did this happen? How do you have 8 straight playoff appearances in a salary cap sport? Well, they're able to refresh the window. They're able to identify a core, and they have tone setters and culture setters and Jordan Stahl, Jacob Slavin, and Jordan Martinook, and then they have their top skill center in Sebastian Aho, and that's your ultimate core. And then they add to those pieces. You get Seth Jarvis, who pops a little bit early in his career. And then we have Jackson Blake, pop last year. It was the only way to get better when you're not picking in the top 10, especially when you're in a small market like Carolina, is to hit in the draft. The Canes have done that. And then somehow to be able to net positive out of the Mikko Rantanen experiment, where you walk away from that, losing Necas, losing Rantanen, but finding this diamond in the rough in Logan Stankoven, who Dallas just gave away, in addition to several picks. You get Taylor Hall in the 3-team trade from Chicago, and that's the basis for the best line in playoff hockey right now.
It's crazy.
And then, of course, you mentioned Miller and Ehlers, who Rod even said this week, if there is something that's different about this group compared to ones in the past, it's that. It's those two pieces added to this core, take them to the next level. Eric Tolsky always likes to talk about there's a lot of ways you make your team better. Everyone focuses on the trade deadline, but they acquired those guys in the offseason. And then, obviously, they've acquired a lot of these guys in the draft, and you're seeing the product of it. And the faith in Freddie Anderson, too.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's one that
had his worst regular season ever.
And they get Bussy to bridge the gap during the regular season, and they have the gumption to stick with Freddie in the playoffs. That's why Rod Brind'Amour is your coach.
And it shows why Eric Tolsky is doing a great job, too, because if you look at it, Freddie Anderson having his worst regular season ever. Pyotr Kochetkov ends up getting injured. We thought he was going to be gone for the season. He's ended up able to go back to do some time with the Chicago Wolves, but ultimately Bussy and Freddie Anderson playing so well at this point in the season, he's just not slotted to come in. But things could have fallen apart for the Canes in the regular season. And it just shows just how smart this coaching staff is, how smart the front office is, how they're able to put all of this together to make it happen right now. And here we are. They've got 12 wins, 4 wins to go, and they're hoisting another Lord Stanley Cup. And this is amazing. And you talked about that core. this core is going to be together for a long time. I want to talk about that second line again really quick because just something that I think is big. Jackson Blake last year, I thought was out-physicaled by Florida, by other teams as well. You saw how slight he was against other teams. The speed was there. The skill was there. You saw that on display. He looked great getting the puck into the zone, but then would be knocked off his skates, and then the puck is going the other way. You don't see that a lot this postseason. And folks have been trying to pick on him, and he's barking back. He's hitting back. Like, this guy is on another level, and you see him starting to go. Like, this is probably a big superstar in the making right now.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah, this thing we're calling them the second line. I mean, it very well might be the top line when it's all said and done in a couple of years.
Once he truly figures it out, he's going to be amazing. It might end up becoming the best player on this team.
And I have to give credit to Eric Tolsky because I thought he was just identified a market inefficiency in small players.
Yeah.
And maybe went too far in on it.
Yeah.
Like at a certain point, you're like, do we have too much small? When you're like Logan Stankoven, Jackson Blake, Seth Jarvis. It's a lot of small forwards.
Sebastian Aho's not that big either.
But the point is like the analytics show that it doesn't matter how tall you are if you win puck battles.
Yep.
That is Tolsky's standpoint. And that's what these guys do. And they've learned to adjust the way the game is refereed now, the way the game is played now. The Canes are built toward it. And there's a reason that we keep saying the teams play like Carolina, because you should.
Yeah.
Like, possess the puck more, shoot the puck more, suppress the shots from the other opponent. Like, at a baseline level, these things ultimately will play out. Now, can skill, like, defy the numbers?
For sure.
Yes,
for sure,
at an elite level. But Connor McDavid has not won a Stanley Cup. Nathan McKinnon has, but he just got swept.
Yeah.
You know, it's not everything, right? You don't need to have the best player in the NHL, and the Hurricanes are proving it. They're probably not going to have the best player in this series. They might not even have the best two players in this series.
Yeah.
You could argue they didn't versus Montreal either. So I'm not going to use that as a reason to pick against them. I don't know how you pick against these guys now.
But 1 through 12, they're the best because, you know, the Montreal Canadiens almost gave up pretty much on their fourth line. You know, it's just they weren't really playing a lot. There's not a lot of ice time. So the top three lines are tired. The Canes can roll out their fourth line, and you saw what happened today. William Carrier gives the big, big Hail Mary pass, and Eric Robinson gets his third goal of the playoffs?
Of the
series.
And of the playoffs. But
and he didn't score before this series, and so he's able to put it in. And that, I mean, we were saying it, that fourth line was playing so amazing. It was just a matter of time before they put it in. And just imagine that, too. We've talked about the second line. We talked about the guys who are already there, who's going to be coming back. We talked about Ehlers on that third line and what he brings to them. That fourth line, next year, if they're all still together, they may be really underrated as well. Like, this is a team that is truly ascending in all areas. I really, like, maybe there's some questions at goaltender next year. Do you sign Freddie back? There's a couple of those questions. I think maybe you need to sign William Carrier. I think it's a couple other folks that you need to kind of figure out. But ultimately, everything's on the up and up, and mostly everybody that you need is in place. You have a couple of things to figure out. That's it.
Yeah, what was a joke we made earlier in the playoffs that Tolsky is the anti-Jerry Jones? Because he signed all these guys early.
Yeah.
Jackson Blake has signed an extension. Logan Stankoven has signed an extension. Jankowski, he's in the fourth line. Signed in the playoffs. I believe Eric Stahl has, Eric Robinson has signed already. So yeah, it's built for the long haul here, and I guess we got to brace ourselves for the long haul here too. But I love one thing that Jordan Martinook said just to wrap it up. He couldn't wait to get home to fill out his bracket with his son.
Yes.
Because he's got the Canes in the Cup Final. He couldn't wait to circle it. There's one more circle to do.
As we wrap it up really quick, RIP to Claude Lemieux.
Yeah.
And that was Freddie Anderson's agent. He died earlier this week by an apparent suicide. And for Freddie Anderson to deal with that, somebody he was close to, and to be able to lock in and to have the type of game he had, looking like nothing was wrong, like he's been doing the entire postseason. Shout outs to him. What a guy, what a performance. And we're also praying for the Lemieux family. Also praying that we're hoisting a big trophy in a couple of weeks. Pat and I have the unfortunate news of having to fly to Las Vegas soon and cover this team. Oh, man, I hate that I have to go to Las Vegas. Las Vegas? Oh, Las Vegas? Man.
Heck,
Vegas?
Gambling. I mean, how about just the locations for the live shots,
Yes.
honey?
Oh, my gosh.
Honey, if you're watching, I'm sorry. Seriously, I am. But this is a special moment, once in a lifetime. And I can't wait to cover it with you, buddy. Thanks for everybody watching at home. Let's bet it all on red, baby.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Cheers.
Cheers.